What is going on, everybody? We are back on it for the final time. Unfortunately, Death Note episode 37. I've been kind of like dreading this since I finished episode 36. I was like torn. I really wanted to find out what happens, but then it's like, dang, the quicker I watch this, Death Note is really open. I can't remember um, an anime that I just craved like episode after episode. So when we kind of finish this, I'm going to give you my ranking of kind of 10 being the greatest thing I've ever seen, 1 being, don't even talk about it, kind of where I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Do I have it in my kind of like top 5 anime? I'm trying to think like what's already there right now. Got like Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, Dragon Ball. Uh, yeah, it definitely probably is for sure. But we'll talk about the likes, dislikes, what I wish to have seen, what I thought they did really great. Just some things here that I know we're not going to get to see. I thought we might play a little bit more into the Shinigami realm. See who the true like old man death god person is. Is there going? I thought maybe there would be something like is Ryuk going to be punished for what he's been doing? Like, there's nothing to really talk about with Ryuk in that realm because it's not going to happen clearly. But if a death god, if someone like Ryuk or Rem was to just like start grabbing a bunch of death gods notebooks and running away to the human world with them, like, is there consequences for that? Is that allowed? Can you intervene? We'll never know. We'll never know. I've been told that I might want to read the final chapter of the manga after I watch this episode. That might help like tie some things together. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get my wish of Ryuk, Mikami, and Light standing over all these dead bodies in that warehouse eating apples and just like laughing that they won and all this kind of crazy stuff. I think Light's cockiness is finally going to catch up with him. Clearly, everybody in that room is not going to drop dead. Even though I would love it to happen, but if that did happen, it's even though Light is the main character of our story, you kind of have to ask yourself as you're kind of going on, is he the one you're rooting for? Because he's the one doing wrong, deciding to be, judge, jury, executioner. Should that power be allowed to one person? If you agree no, then he is the villain of the story and you want him to fail. I personally want him to succeed. I want him to win. But for that to happen, everybody here has to die, and I don't think that's going to happen. So then it goes to, well, if this plan fails, Mikami is unsuccessful in killing everybody, then what? Does Light get locked away for the rest of his life? Does he somehow talk his way out of this? Does he reveal he's Kira? Does he have a plan on top of this plan? Does Ryuk come in and save him? I have absolutely no idea. I wish we would get more of Ryuk here. I mean, we haven't gotten him. We haven't really gotten much of Ryuk in. We saw him give the notebook to Mikami. Have we really gotten anything from ever since Rem really died and there wasn't much back and forth between them? Ryuk hasn't really held much to the story other than transferring death notes and just made for comedic relief. Would Ryuk sacrifice his life to save Light? Probably. Maybe he wants to thank Light for the entertainment. I didn't think he says something along the lines, I didn't think, I could have this much fun. Thanks. And like writes everybody's names and he wins that way. I don't know. But I feel like what's probably likely to happen is Light either gets captured here or shot to death or something like that. Ryuk takes the death notes back, thanks Light, even though Light is dead. Takes the death notes and just heads back, and the world goes on recovering, rebuilding without Kira. But maybe the world will never truly know if that power will ever come back. So maybe they'll act accordingly or act better. And even though Light didn't get to succeed in governing the new world for as long as he would have liked, maybe him as Kira left a long enough impression that the world will change or is going to change. I could kind of see that happening. You know, the world changes because of Light's actions. Even though Light is dead, the world still goes forward in fearing of Akira and things like that. It's probably like the cliche anime ending we might see. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. But typically, everything we've seen up to this point, Light always has a backup plan to somebody's initial reaction plan. Um, but what's different here is Light is putting all his chips in on this plan number one, and he is at the scene of the plan number two. That's what makes this a little bit different here. Usually when he's like setting things into motion and has a plan, like if A happens, then B plan happens. If B plan happens, then C plan happens. But he's always like, you know, sitting back with the task force or at the computer or at the house or seeing something unfold on TV. He's not risking his actual self. So if something was to go completely wrong, he could be like, damn it, you know, they got me. And just go back to the drawing board and adjust. Here, if and when this Mikami plan doesn't work, and everyone's standing there like, we're alive, and Light had the audacity to say, I won, everyone's going to be like, what the hell do you mean you won? And then everyone's going to be like, what the? So it's just going to be, even though he has a counter to a counter most of the time, he's never had to put a counter, gotten countered, and then standing there like, now what? Here he is. There's no running away. There's no computer. There's nobody he can control to make an action so he can escape or, you know, come back. Like, this is it. So we'll see. Wasn't a fan of the Mello and Nier characters at all, but, you know, the overall story and some things made it great. I love the Mikami character. Thought the dramatic delete. Man, if they had Light doing that or other characters doing that with that animation style, that would have been amazing. But I guess that's about it. We'll see how it rides out. Ideally, you know, I'd love for Light to win. I'd love for Light to be alive at the end of this, number one. I'd love for Ryuk to still be alive after this. I'd love to see a Ryuk and Light interaction for one last time before this is over. I'd love to see everybody die that's not Light. And Misa, if she could stay alive as well. Mikami and Ryuk. Those four. Of those four, I wonder who die. Mikami, Misa, Ryuk, Light. Those four. If there's any way we can get to the end of this episode with those four live and everybody else dead, I'll take it. Man, I don't want it to end, but here we are. And what sucks is, like, it's not an extra long episode anyway. It's going to be the typical, like, 17, 18 minutes, but... Episode title, New World, Death Note episode 37. We are pressing play for the final time. Right now. Here we go. And Light's just so fucking cocky. He can't just wait to see dead bodies. He just has to brag about it. Clearly this isn't going to work. I think Nier planned for that to be a fake notebook and switched out again. Like, Light planned for them putting a fake notebook, to which then Nier countered for. But Light didn't counter. It's a fake book. It's a fake book, is it not? Everybody but Light's name. It's fake. It's a fake notebook. So why didn't it work? Yeah, everyone's like, dang man, we've been following you this whole time. Ryuk, you gonna come in and can we get a explanation on why it didn't work? Kira. Yep, that's what I figured. That's why I said Mikami should have tested that shit out on the way. Y'all got too cocky. How you let that minor detail go? How you don't test that no. Hey Ryuk, kill him. How you let that go? How you don't test that out? It's like, oh, we got the real one. They knew it was a fake. You don't have him Ryuk like have Mikami just kill a random kid on the playground on the way, like something. Man, man, man. How you don't test that out? Putting his trust in somebody else. Ah, he put his trust in somebody else and. Mm-mm-mm. And how's he just getting in? How's he getting into the bank into somebody else's safety deposit box? Jesus, the bank. Yep. Oh, don't try to hype hype up Mello like he's the real dark horse winner here. It was never me. Mello was the one that should have succeeded, L, not me. Hey Ryuk, you want to kill everybody for me? We've never seen him like there is no plan. There's no backup, no death gods coming, Nothing's happening. So, what does he do? What does he do? Jesus Christ. What's happening? I mean, he's just losing it, correct? That's it, huh? Ryuk, where are you at? No, don't. All humans will, without exception, eventually die. Correct. You are correct. People told me to really make sure I read these. After they die, the place they go to is nothingness. Ryuk, you love him, don't you? Kill him. He never made the ideal too, which is actually wild. A god. They could just shoot his ass. There's nothing you could do. Matsuda, so I feel bad for Matsuda. They were kind of young and building and all that together. You can't deny his facts, though. He is speaking true facts, but is he's not the one to make that decision. Yeah, we already knew it was going to be a fake notebook. It sucks we saw Mikami and Light both weak in that moment. Mikami has never been that flustered, ever. Neither has Light. Well, they're still going to arrest her ass, so then we'll... Could Ryuk just, like, grab that and dip? And if this was to happen, I wish it would have been L's victory instead of little kid on the ground. I mean, what's he to do here? There's nothing he can do. You're not going to run. You're not going to make it anywhere. You can't make an ideal. There's nothing you could do. Now tell me you've got another notebook. Yo, if everyone dies right here, I will lose my fucking mind. Why is the like watch ticking and like he's looking? Oh my god! I'm not gonna get hyped. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna freak out. To know if it's real, it could be a fake. You don't know if he's bluffing or not. That's true. Matsuda. Matsuda. Yeah, Matsuda for sure. Matsuda's Matsu was so full of emotions and everything. Like, You could have written that behind your back, you know. You didn't have to flip your hand around like that. Matsuda. I thought we were about to have some like deep. I thought we were about to have some deep. Some deep. Misa turns back in. She's been relayed all this information with her eyes, and it's gonna drop bodies. But no, it didn't happen. And Matsuda's so full of emotion, like he is young, you know. He can't handle all this. He's loved Light and is always cheerful, and he's always been full of emotion. Like, oh man, Light, I'm so jealous, and Mikami. Oh, Ryuk. I mean, what are we expecting of Ryuk? I would have liked more from Ryuk. It's over. Is there any deep level? What the fuck? Why is that so dramatic? Why is he bleeding so? I mean, I know he stabbed himself, but like, good God. Did he write that down? You're not gonna walk out of there, bro. They're just gonna fucking shoot you. Like, how far does he even make it, even if he gets outside? Yeah, like what? Why does Nier get to be the one to figure it all out? Yeah, where's he gonna go? Can him and Ryuk get a moment, like before the man just dies? Dang, how the mighty have fallen. It sucks to see him go out like this. Because, like I said, we've never seen him. And Misa, what about Misa, man? And she's never even going to remember or know why. That's the. When you think about it, that's like the fucked up sad part. Like, she'll never know. She's never going to remember any of this. At all. Ever. But, like, everything she went through for this. Oh, man. I mean, we literally have 2 minutes left. Like, can him and Ryuk get like 10-second moment at all? No, I don't think they are. That's pretty shit. Him and Misa aren't gonna get a moment. Oh hell, that was a dope ass shot though. I'd love for the bring me the notebook. And the first human who picks it up, it's their responsibility to kill that person. It's gonna be because of Ryuk. Dang it, look at the shots! I wish they were having this conversation face to face, though. Fuck, that's exactly how I thought it would be. Ryuk would be like, well, Light, see ya. It was fun. Oh, fuck. And what about Misa? Like, they have nothing to put on her, like charge wise, but Ryuk, can you like hook her up with something and let her just get revenge and just take bodies out? That's how it ends. Holy shit. How dramatic and like dark as fuck did that get? Now, no bullshit. When he started talking about like, y'all don't even know if that's the real notebook. You might want to test it out. I was like, no fucking shot. He's got like a 5D chess move where he's got another notebook set ready to put down everybody else's name. Misa gets her abilities, something wild like that, but no, it wasn't. I'm guessing this is to show us that Misa did find it. She's not gonna fucking jump, is she? Don't fucking do it. That's not what they're about to show me, right? I don't know. I'm just like kind of like holding my breath. I don't know if I'm gonna get like a Tommen from Game of Thrones moment where Misa just like jumps off the top of that fucking silo at the last second. That Ryuk little bit at the end was exactly what I needed. I just wish it would have been. I wish they would have gotten an exchange. That sucks. I so wish that he just would have like landed right in front of. Well, there's no part two. I don't know why I'm getting hype of them showing Ryuk again. It's not like, Death Note Season 2 coming out next year. Like, no, that's it. Damn. I want to go back to that whole conversation, though. So, what a time. I want to go back there just a little bit. Like, these shots of Ryuk are just so dope. I'm guessing that's a true fact. So is that a true fact if you receive a death note from a Shinigami, that Shinigami at some point will have to kill you? And then that just doesn't mean there has to be a time on that. It's just like when it looks like you're going to die or the time is going to come or situation might be, it's that Shinigami. But like, how do you even... Is there a penalty if you're unable to uphold that? Like, I don't... Say, Ryuk comes, drops the death note, Light's like, what's this, a death note? Alright, he starts using it. A week later, Light accidentally gets hit by a car and dies. Like, on the spot, or gets shot in the head, or just something like something instantly that, like, Ryuk couldn't have... Well, I guess Ryuk could have seen the time on his head, so maybe just any time before that. So I guess... No, because I was going to say here, there might have been a time limit above Light's head right here that would have... Like, oh, he's going to bleed out and die right. But that's so good. Now that I'm trying to think about it, did Ryuk always see this time above his head? Like, that's... And then that's kind of what we talked about earlier. The Death Note in kind of the anime is kind of like almost like a predestined world. Where, like, there is destiny, and a Death Note user can alter somebody's destiny by, giving them certain commands. I could have... But that's what's so confusing. I could have, like, 30 years left on my lifespan. But if someone like Light decides to use me for something, does all of a sudden my time change? Or destiny has already been written and Light or Death Note user is just the tool? Was I always destined to die by doing an act from the Death Note? That was always going to be my death, or can your destiny then be altered? Like with Light's father, when he died in that hospital bed. If Ryuk would have just came to the human world, not interfering with anything, didn't give anybody a death note. Let's say, for example, Light's father had a timestamp of a year on his head. We don't know how it's going to happen. It was just going to be a year. Fast forward, he drops the death note, Light gets it, we go through all this, Light's father picks up the death note, blah, 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 and that syncs up perfectly to boom, he died in that hospital bed in a year. Or did Light's father have 20 years left of his life? All the events happen, boom, 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 it led to just, and all of a sudden his 20-year lifespan gets sucked down and he just dies there. I don't know, that's kind of, I guess that argument could be made on either side. Has destiny already been written not by the Death Notes, just already been written, and the Death Notes are just carrying them out? Can they alter your time? We know you can alter it if you agree to take the eyes. But if I'm never affected by a Death Note, would my life expectancy change is basically the question of the day. If I have 50 years left of my life, but Light Yagami wants to use me for something that will end up dying, so the 50-year life expectancy was a lie until there was an outside interference that affected my destiny. Possibly. I want to go hear this exchange again. Because that's basically what it comes down to. When Ryuk first showed up, we never saw Light's life expectancy, but was it always destined to this date right here? Or if Ryuk decided to wait and not kill him right there, and they captured Light, took him to the hospital, locked him up in prison, he would still be living, correct? And then Ryuk could decide to kill him at any moment, or was it always going to be destined to this moment? We can go back and forth, chicken or the egg type thing. I could sit here for an hour doing that. But this exchange here, I would have loved if Ryuk was flapping behind him, or walking side by side with him, having this conversation, and see, because we've never seen Light call for anybody until right there. He was like, Mikami, do something. He was like, Misa, just anything he could think of. I would have loved to see him there begging Ryuk, help me, save me, make the eye deal with me, something wild like that. Just to see how Ryuk would have reacted. But this was better than nothing. I wanted a Ryuk moment. I would have liked them to be acknowledging each other, because it has been them, ride or dying. It's not like they've been sidekicks where Light's been killing, Ryuk's been killing, they've been trying to conquer the world together, but they have been rolling together. When he got all the bugs out of his room and he's been feeding him apples and making this entertaining and all this type of stuff, and then it's just over. I want to hear what he said again. I don't even remember him saying when they first met that he would be the one to write his name. Okay, the Shinigami who brings any notebook. Is it are they charged with that responsibility? So is that part of the agreement? Hey, if you take a Death Note to the human world and a human picks it up, it's your responsibility to kill them at some point? Or you can just do it whenever. And then, so what happens to the other Death Notes that are out there? There's still 2. Oh, man. I like the subtitle version better when he's like, well, Light, it was fun, instead of the way he says it's been interesting. Because it made it seem like he enjoyed it and referred to him by name, and hopefully there was a friendship between the two of them. I'm guessing this is Misa finding out the news. But there's no she's just a girl in mourning. It's not like she's a Death Note user with the eyes that's going to get revenge on any and anybody and carry out Light and Kira's will. It's just it. It just sucks that, like, that's how Light goes out to fucking Near and Mellow, to something that he should have accounted for. But also, we know he's cocky as shit. He really, really is, and just has to put his face on things and his full name on things, and we gotta do this, and I win. Oh no, by the way, I'm Kira. Want to call my dad? Like, why are you the way that you are? So I don't know the conclusion of, like, what happens to the other two Death Note. Like, there are still two Death Notes out there. You know, Matsuda at points in times has said, hey, maybe what Kira doing isn't wrong. And there are a lot of people out there that believe that same way. So, like, what are y'all planning to do with these Death Notes? They're still good. They're still there in the world. It's not like Ryuk's like, well, I'm gonna go collect and take these. Is this even supposed to just show me that she does just end up committing suicide? I don't know. I feel bad for Misa as well. At least she gets to, at least she has her life, but like, what her life was Light, and at a point it was Kira, and like that's what like gave her life. Now it's like, what am I doing? It just sucks that like she's never going to know. I would have loved to have gotten another like Misa, Ryuk, and there's so many things I wish we could, that's unfortunate. Like, as great as the story was, there's a lot of like missed opportunities to just have like a Misa and Light moment one more time before it's all said and done. Like, maybe she gets back her memories for like a split second, and then like he takes them away. Yeah, it's just a lot. I could sit here and go back and forth, back and forth. Death Note was great though. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, I think I've said this before. I don't remember a stronger like first 10 to 15 episodes of any anime I've ever watched. Attack on Titan is up there for sure. Tokyo Ghoul. That's really kind of all I can really remember off the top of my head. But like, usually, you know, because this is the first type of anime I've watched. Like, well, Code Geass as well, but like it was just killing off the bat, and like this is the power, like this is it. You know, nobody can really match. There was nothing matching the main character and his ability. In Code Geass, other people had abilities. We just found out along the way. In Tokyo Ghoul, there's other ghouls. In Attack on Titan, there's other titans. Naruto, there's other, you know, people with jutsus and all this stuff. Like, it was just Light, literally playing with humans. I thought the Rem and the Misa stuff was absolutely amazing. She was one of my favorite characters. Ryuk. I guess you kind of got to a point of how would Light be able to continue to move and operate to his full extent with L alive? So I guess you kind of, because you were getting to a point in the story was like, how many times, like, what do we, like, L knows it's us. Now we have back our memories, you know, we've caught this one. He knows, like, this has been too easy. He's already hinted about, you know, power being transferred. We're already handcuffed. We're under surveillance. Like, we're never going to be able to move as Kira or do anything with L alive. So I can understand his death, like, at the timing that it was. Because it's just like, how, like, what episode did he die around? Like in the 20s? So we had like 15 something episodes. How long can you go like handcuffing, having, you know, giving it to somebody else of another powerful group, or having Misa do something without noticing, and then it was just too much. I think what would have made the story better is if Mello and Nier had been a part of L's task force originally. Now you could say, well, that puts them in danger. Misa could have gotten their names and information at any moment. True. But it's hard to get behind a like at some point you're like, dang, I kind of want L to win here. But it's hard to get behind a character or characters that just got introduced to the game so late. And I'm supposed to take it at your word that like just because they come from the same, you know, background as L, that they're just as smart, and like the story made them to be, but I just had to believe it. There's no choice. I have no other information to go off. If they tell me they're this smart, or they're his successors, or just as good, or whatever, what are we gonna do? We got 10 episodes left. We just gotta take their stuff in face value. Because I didn't really like it. I didn't like the Mello character. I didn't like either of them. Didn't like Mello or Nier. So it was, of course, cliche at the end of like, this couldn't have been done without him. It was his efforts that we made it this far. Um, so some of my complaints were, the Mello and Nier. Some of the animation was just wonky at times. Just like some of the faces and stuff was just ridiculous. But like when they did their shots, they hit like some of those Ryuk shots in this episode, amazing. Some of the Mikami shots when he's doing his delete shit, clean. When Misa and Light met for the first time and you had Rem and Ryuk standing over them, or any shots where there was always like Ryuk in the background was always like done great. Everybody that got their different colored hair inner monologues. Matsuda being the one to shoot Light is so, because he's looked up to Light almost. I mean, because they were kind of coming up around the same age, brothers, but like Matsuda always wanted, like, Light's got all the girls and he's smart and he's getting the lead and he's the chief's dad, and Matsuda wanted to be that, and then to know everything he wanted to be. And Matsuda said, at some points he sided with what Kyoto was doing. Then to find out it's been Light this whole time is just, it's a mess. But we didn't get more of that, Aizawa was there, like, I'm not taking orders from you. But like, I guess I'm just supposed to surmise what kind of happens in this world. Maybe they lock up the Death Note. You can't just leave those in government's powers, because at some point they're going to go after those notebooks and use them themselves. So does everybody in that room just know of 2 notebooks that are out there, and we're just going to bury them forever? Give Ryuk to take them? I don't know. So I'm guessing the world would just slowly realize, like, hey, these killings haven't been happening. Maybe Kid is dead on a break, and the world's going to eventually go back to normal. I don't think, because Light did give a bunch of information that, 70% of the crime or the wars and all this type of stuff, somebody had to do it. But over time, when people see the consequences aren't being handed out, the world's going to go back to exactly how it was, So he did create a new world. I just don't think it will last when they see that the killings have stopped. Whether that takes another 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, it's going to fall back into what it originally was. Feel for Misa's character, but we got nothing of her to feel for at the end there. She was just, side comedic relief. I hate how they did Mikami's character, because he was so great. What the hell did he impale himself with that like caused that much blood? I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was a great show. Again, I was hoping. The problem with this scenario, like, I don't mind this scenario right here. Say he controlled Mikami to go into this situation, and he's just watching from like task force headquarters. And he's like, this is how I win. Everybody's going to die here. The same exact scenario could have happened. Just remove Light from being there. He could have formulated another plan and acted accordingly. But, I mean, they wanted to meet face to face, which he agreed with. But there was no stipulations. That's why when I sat up when he was like, how do we know that notebook's real? I was like, no fucking shot. He's got the real one, like, at the house with Misa. She got back her memories this morning type shit, and she's ready to drop bodies. I really thought we were going that way. Or there's some kind of Ryuk deal with apples or something going on. I had no idea what was going to happen, but it wasn't. He just had the stuff stuck there on his watch. And even then, like, he could have just walked away with his watch and written something down. But instead, he had to turn around all dramatic in everybody's face. They see him writing on and of course he's going to get dotted up. He couldn't have just like chilled out, but yeah, it was just there was no crazy power system. There was no emotion boost of, main character raging out or getting saved or anything like that. He just goes out. And like the only other anime I've watched is like Code Geass, so you try to figure out the parallels, but like Lelouch went down the villain, raising the world at the same time. Nobody knows of Light except the people in that room. What he did, however you want to look at it, he did better the world. It's just how he went about it. Was it his decisions to make? But then you also ask yourself, if not that way, then what way could what's been achieved happened? How could he have stopped 70% of crime or ended wars? And how? So if not Light's way, then what way? open dialogue, discussion, government, joint sessions. We do that now anyway. And it's like, what really, So hate it or not, I don't think what him and Nier were labeling him as was either. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Nier says, you're just a mass murder serial killer. And Light's like, no, I'm a god. I think it's more kind of somewhere in the middle. But I really, really enjoyed the story. I liked it a lot. I would honestly, the only things I really, really disliked were the Mellow and Nier aspect. So that last little chunk there, because I never respected them or saw them as threats. I just knew with them being introduced this late into the game, they're going to be the reason Light gets captured. They're going to be the victorious ones at the end. It just is what it is. There's no getting around it. It just, to get that introduced that late and knowing Light, what is Light just going to win and keep winning? Somebody's got to put him down. It was going to be one of those two. So we kind of already knew where that was going, so I didn't enjoy that part. The animation was kind of hit or miss, but besides that, anything in all the episodes that L was alive, some of them were slower than others, but they were amazing. Absolutely loved it. Like, I don't know if this is outlandish to say, but and there's a lot of like loose ends and story. Like, we didn't go into the Shinigami realm. I wanted more from Ryuk and Light. I wish Misa would have stayed involved because she came in so strong. I wanted to see what happens to the world after Light dies and all these type of things. There's things we didn't get. Now that could be my thing as a viewer. Maybe it was we never meant to get more of the Shinigami realm or the real death god or whoever. Maybe that's just me building up speculation. But every time we went back there, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get more. But no, we just would talk to somebody and leave, and then we talk to somebody and come back out. So maybe that's just viewer expectations. But I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. I can't remember of the last animes that you guys have like recommended and things. When I finished an episode, I thoroughly wished if I wasn't recording, I would have binged the hell out of this. Just bop, bop, bop. There's some animes like when we get in specific arcs, I'm like, man, I really wish I know what happens next, but it's okay, I can wait. Like when I finished episode 36, y'all damn near got a doubleheader. That's how good it was, and some of the other episodes as well. I give Death Note an 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. It was just that chunk there with the Mellow and Nier that kind of bumps it down for me. And I actually do think it's in my top 5. I'm trying to think what's even in my top 5. Because I think I don't even have 5 that because like, I'm not just going to throw something in a top 5 just to make 5. But like, Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul. You know what I've noticed recently? Naruto's like coming down and down for me. Because I see everybody and their mother reacting to it. I get to watch it a lot more. Because people are reacting to it, so I'm getting to watch through for like the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 10th time. It's not as amazing as I remember it the first time. So it's really, I remember I used to have Naruto as like up there. It's been really, really, really coming down. So maybe my top would probably be Attack, Ghoul, Dragon Ball, Naruto, and then I think I'd slide Death Note right in there. I enjoyed Death Note more than Hunter x Hunter. So you could slide Hunter x Hunter right up under there. Mob Psycho, close behind them as well. I don't care for Avatar or Full Metal, so I'll need to see more of Demon Slayer. My Hero has some reconciling to do with me after last season. Jujutsu's cool, but again, I'm only 11 episodes in. I need to see more, and we'll just kind of go from there. But yeah, I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really loved it. 8 out of 10. It's in my top 5. I've only watched 2 animes that haven't had like power systems. Even if you want to refer to like Code Geass as having a power system or not. So Death Note and Code Geass are the only things I could compare. I would never go back and watch Code Geass, but Death Note. But this is one of those. Death Note is one of those where like it's more about the reveals and oh my gosh, what happens next. So once you find that out, there's no battle I'm going back to like rewatch type stuff. Like, oh, I got to go back and watch that fight. This is one of those like once you find out the information, it won't hit as hard on the rewatch. But that's what the story is. That's what made it so good, was like that thriller of like, are we going to survive? Are we getting out of this? And once you know that they do, it won't hit as hard the second time around, but the impression it made the first time was pretty great. So I thoroughly enjoyed Hunter Hunter Death Note. I didn't think I would when you guys suggested it, but I absolutely loved it. 8 out of 10 in my top 5. And we will just go ahead and cap off and leave it at that. So right now we are going to be reacting to Attack on Titan, One Piece, and Juju. Those 3. I have about 10 episodes left of Juju, and then that'll be wrapped up as well. And Attack on Titan is going to be ending here shortly as well. So it'll just be One Piece. Once those things start phasing out, we'll go ahead and vote on some more. I think My Hero starts back at the end of this month. So it'll be One Piece and My Hero. Then we'll vote another one in. So we'll have 3 solid ones going. But you guys know I'll remind you guys with dates and where to vote and all that type of stuff. But that is it for Death Note. I appreciate it, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I don't know why I'm sitting here like, hey, is there a season 2 out there? It's over. It's unfortunately over. I appreciate it. Like, share, favorite, subscribe. As always,